Hey guys, this is Mark Goldberg with another exciting episode for you today. Before we jump into the meat and potatoes of this issue, the black Submariner versus the green Hulk Submariner, let's go ahead and do the quick fist watch check. And I bet you're having to guess, which one is he wearing? Well, here it is. And today I'm wearing both of them. That's right, I'm pulling the Schwarzkopf. Guys, we have to talk about it. This is the Hulk, this is the black Submariner. The reference number of the black is 116610LN for Lunette Noire. That means black bezel. And the Hulk is the 116610LV, Lunette Verde for green bezel. We have a green dynamic painted face as well as a bright green bezel. And here, black, black, black. Okay, now, I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about what's happening to the pricing of these guys, both now discontinued, and then we'll turn this camera around and we will dissect them, from the aesthetic viewpoint, see what the differences and similarities are. Well, these guys were discontinued late last year, and prices have popped up on both of them. The black version of the Submariner is currently available. Chrono pricing suggests for a nice box and papers example, you have to be prepared to spend $12,000 or $13,000. Although, believe it or not, there are plenty of examples up also for $14,000, $15,000, and even some at the $16,000 range for this guy, which is fairly amazing. But I think current pricing suggests that you should expect to pay somewhere in the $12,000 to $13,000. Box, papers, good condition, never polished. And then what about the Hulk? A recent check of Chrono 24 suggests naturally more expensive. You should be expecting to pay somewhere in the $16,000, $17,000, maybe even $18,000 range. That is box and papers, good condition. But what about if you want an unworn one still in stickers? Well, my buddy Blue Drew in Thailand went to Bangkok, went to a dealer, and he was offered one for about $19,300. New old stock Hulk still in stickers. So pushing $20,000 for an unworn example. Here's the example my buddy Blue Drew sent me from Bangkok, Thailand. It's still in stickers, really clean example, $19,382. But guys, let's turn the camera around. Let's look at these guys closer, talk about the differences, the owner experience, which one do you like better? We'll talk about that too. Before I turn the camera around, remember, like this video, please subscribe so we can do this again. I have lots to talk to you about this year. Let's do it together. Okay, enough. Let's turn the camera around and look at watches. Guys, in terms of dimensions, the Hulk on the left and the regular Submariner black on the right are functionally absolutely identical in every way. They are a 40 millimeter watch, approximately 12 millimeters thick, and the weight of each, with one link removed to size to my wrist, for each of them is 148 grams. So, a normal person would say these are the same watch, but we're not quite normal, are we, guys? We are watch nerds. We have the disease. So we look at these things as two completely different animals, and in some sense they are. Certainly they price very, very different. The Hulk on the left was a much harder to get watch. Not that the Steel Sports Submariner black on the right was a whole lot easier, but, well, let's say it was easier than the Hulk. But the fact of the matter is that both of them are tough to get, but the Hulk was impossible, just ridiculous. Although, of course, now in the gray market, discontinued, you can get them. You're just going to pay the premium. The major difference, of course, has everything to do with color. Now, I'm going to move the camera around so that you can kind of see the dynamic shifts in color. When this watch first came out, it actually sold on the secondary market for well under retail. It's about a $9,500 watch. And, oh gosh, back when they were reasonably, new and first introduced, you could pick one up $7,500, maybe $8,000. And why? Because it was a Marmite watch. Marmite is that sort of like yeasty substance that the Brits eat, and you either love it or hate it. So this was, as the Americans would say, a love it or hate it watch. Now, its bezel is perfect. Let me put that up to the mic. And of course, they both sound the same because these guys are absolutely identical. But look at this color. Now, here's the thing, guys. In order to get that dynamic sunray burst on the on the dial there, what Rolex did was mix gold dust into their uniquely green paint. And that is what the dial is lacquered with. Paint with gold dust mixed in so that it would reflect the light and refract the way you're seeing it here. I personally love that very much. Now, I'm going to just compare it to this fellow over here. And this is not a sunburst dial. This is it's not a matte or a flat. It's a lacquered dial. But as we move it around, you'll see it is much more of a plain Jane. So let me put these guys together. Now, look, to be fair, in light like this, the Hulk absolutely glows. It completely stands out. And the black just kind of blends into the wrist a lot more because it's black. But honestly, if you get these guys in indoor light or under fluorescent lighting, you'd be a little hard-pressed to tell the difference between the two of them. Kind of like moving them into the shade here, you can see that the green on the Hulk on the right, it tones down an awful lot. Now you can still see that bezel green, but we're outdoors. I've just changed the angle of the light. Trust me, guys, if we were indoors, you'd be hard-pressed to tell them apart. But you know, you get out into the sunlight and bam, what a difference. Now, I'll be honest, the Hulk, for me, the Hulk is 100 times sexier. That being said, it's such a notable dial. I mean, it's a feast for the eyes, and when I wear it, I can't stop looking at it, and sometimes I get a little tired of staring at my own wrist. So if I want a quieter experience, or if I feel like I want to draw less attention, then I would wear the black. I mean, I know that there are people who specialize in scoping out Rolexes and stealing them, but the black Rolex looks like every other watch on the market because so many people from Invicta on up have copied them. Whereas I feel like the Hulk, well, that's something that's going to be much more noticeable when you wear it. Now, for me, I wear the Hulk a lot more than I wear the black, but I do sometimes alternate. And in fact, if I were to sell one of these two, I would definitely sell the black because there were so many more of those made. It would be easier to replace if I regretted it. But I'm pretty sure that the price of the Hulk is going to continue climbing. I mean, we're less than 2 years out of production. So give it another 5 or 6 years, and that Hulk is going to get absolutely impossible. Now, this beautiful 40 millimeter sub, which was replaced by the 41 millimeter, is going to get harder too, so it will go up. But for many years, this was the standard issue sub. And before Steel Sports was so severely tightened up by Rolex as part of their overall game plan, and before we were hit with the worldwide situation today that clamped supply of this guy even further, before that point, this watch was in plentiful supply. You could walk into an AD and buy one off the shelf. Now, its replacement, the 41 millimeter version, is short supply and you can't buy it. But we don't know the exact numbers because Rolex never really tells you anything. But I bet you 25 of these were manufactured for every one Hulk. What do you guys think? Have you seen a Hulk in the flesh? Do you like it, or do you feel like it's too much? It's a love it or leave it watch, but I could tell you, I love it. You can easily wear the Hulk to the office and have people think you're just wearing a black watch if the light is fluorescent and dim. But boy, when you step outside and the light hits it, look what happens. Let me move the angle around a little bit. And you can see it going dark just by moving it out of the light. So I feel like the black one, well, that's if you have a Rolex, that's the one that you have. If you have a sub, that's the one that you've got. For me, give me the gold paint in that dynamic green dial. That's what does it for me. Before I give you final thoughts, I kind of wanted to show you a wrist roll or a look around the Hulk, and then we're going to do the same thing with the black. When I put the black one on, though, I had a little bit of a surprise, which I'll describe to you in just a moment. But here, have a look at this beautiful dial on the Hulk. Well, I'm so captivated by the green that I was a little surprised when I put the black one on put it into the light and started turning and twisting it around, I got extremely captivated, and it reminded me that the black Submariner is absolutely the James Bond icon of the range. Okay guys, before I let you go, I just want to have a quick word about the Hulk and the black in terms of, should you buy them now? Should you sell them now if you already own it? What's the deal on that? Well, the black was discontinued, of course, at the same time as the Hulk, but the reality is there were probably 25 of these kids made for every one of those. So while this watch is moving up slightly because it's discontinued and ultimately will get harder to get, this guy has nowhere to go but up. Absolutely nowhere to go but up. So if you are in the market for a Hulk, I wouldn't wait 2 or 3 years. You want to get yourself one right now. Now is the time, guys. This watch is going to get nothing but rarer, and in fact Rolex doesn't make anything even vaguely like it right now. The Hulk, well, we now have what's called the Starbucks or the Cermet. That is a black dial, much the same as this black dial, okay, except for it has the green bezel. Rolex has tried to split it down the middle, right? Plain, boring black dial, slightly interesting green dial. That's what's available now. Nothing is going to be dynamic and give you that sunburst in the way of a Rolex in green. Maybe ever again, we don't know, but I can tell you what, there's only one Hulk. This is the one that you should get. If you own this one, keep it. Keep it, because if you sell it in 5 years, you'll get a whole lot more for it. Or if you want to buy one, you'll have a really difficult time. Black and Hulk, both in the 116610 version. Guys, what do you think? Do you have a preference, or do you like the new 41 instead? Do you not like the Hulk, but you do like the Cermet / Starbucks? Tell me what you think in the comments. Subscribe to this video. Let's do 2021 together. This is Goldberg. Peace out.
Paint the sky.